big picture standpoint. So go ahead.
The big picture is this: if Agent Zero, Barry Soetoro, if he was taken out, this whole thing it will create enough of a chaos, and I cannot imagine the type of backlash that would occur, especially from his voting bloc, which goes by the title of the ill-informed or uninformed voter. It would be tantamount, because what's going to happen is if they do take out Zero, what will happen is they will make sure that Joe Biden does not become a vice president. I could see a complete usurpation and suspension of the Constitution, and at that point some sort of martial law declared. That being said, it is Barry's job to be the Judas goat and to be the blame guy or the fall guy for them to blame all their ills and wills on. Okay, he's part of the chaos. I have no doubt about it. Now, earlier in the program we talked about, the insurance cancellations. I don't think people understand that cancellation part of the health care law. He wrote that. Barry wrote that. That's something he put together. So this guy, at once, I thought at one time this man's a complete puppet, but it actually turns out he's working very diligently, burning the oil on both ends every night, finding and utilizing very creative ways on how to screw his own people. That's Barry, and you got to understand with this guy. This guy has no shame. He doesn't care his poll numbers are 30% tomorrow or 20% the next day. He doesn't care. The reason why he doesn't care is when Americans overwhelmingly protested against Obamacare, what did he do? He ramrodded the whole Obamacare thing down the Americans' throat, and then he had the Supreme Court, especially John Roberts, he twisted his arm to flip the whole thing because, he's a compromised judge to begin with. And there you go. Here we are in the brave new world. So, even though his public opinion will fall, I don't think it matters to Barry, because Barry, in my opinion, is the most successful president in U.S. history. And what I mean by that is this. The man has achieved everything he set out to do. He was the most honest president. He said he will transform America, and he did just that. He absolutely transformed this country in 5 short years. So I don't think it's, even if he's taken out, they'll put another puppet in, or you'll have complete usurpation and martial law declared. Either way, it's going to be win-win for the globalists. Now, the situation will arise is, what do you do when the crap does hit the fan? Look, there is a mass awakening going. You can't deny that. Okay, number one. Number two, I do know for a fact that the banksters are petrified. They are very concerned with what is occurring. They are very afraid of what's happening. They're losing control. They want to create an internet kill switch. Okay, go ahead and create the kill switch, because now you have talented individuals that are creating the dark web. And the dark web is the dark side of the internet, and they're setting up shop over there. NSA says, we're going to track everything you're doing online. Go ahead. There are individuals that are creating counter-tracking software so that when you're online, you can see who's tracking you. So these are amazing, amazing things. I mean, they're globalists, for the most part, are losing a considerable amount of credibility. That's why Zbigniew Brzezinski has said recently that's easier to kill 1 million people than try to control 1 million people, because they are worried that people are beginning to wake up. And it's only a matter of time before someone gets really PO'd and starts putting names and addresses of some of these elites. I mean, look, these people are still human, and they could be supernaturally influenced. To me, it doesn't matter, because the stupid part about Lucifer is this. He has to deal with human beings. And human beings can act idiotic, stupid, and make mistakes, especially when they're filled with hubris. So right now the globalists will have to tread carefully, but it also at the same time makes them very desperate. Look about what happened, and I want to bring to remembrance this. I'm going to say something that's going to blow the doors off of some people. If you all remember, back about a month or two ago, one of the InfoWars reporters, Anthony Gucciardi, broke the story that there was some nukes transferred from Deas Air Force Base to South Carolina. Michael Savage shed some light into it. He also launched an investigation into it. And then, many proponents have said that this was for some sort of a false flag. I beg to differ. I've had sources said this is actually those things. What's in South Carolina, folks? You have one of the biggest ports in the U.S. What I've heard is they're actually taking that and they're shipping those nukes off to the Saudi Arabians. That's right. They are arming Saudi Arabia. And that's when you're seeing this rhetoric of Israel and Saudi Arabia drawing up plans to go after Iran. And if that thing goes nuclear, you can have another potential World War III scenario. So, they're trying and they're getting desperate. But, again, they're hitting the wall because of the alternative media, which I like to call the new media, because we're doing our job and doing real journalism, real reporting, and putting a light on this. And the more we're exposing it, the more we're messing up their plans, the more we're slowing it down. And you know what? I think, in terms of like foreign occupation, I see, many areas, many places in this country, like New York, Los Angeles, I could see them coming under foreign occupation. But there are other places in this country where, if you're a foreign occupying army, you want to rip through, some states. Good luck to you. Just like what Yamamoto said in World War II, there will be a rifle behind every blade of grass. Michael, if you want to add something.
Well, I kind of have the opinion that Steve had. Steve and I spoke about clones a long time ago, and I kind of feel like there's going to be lots of options on the table with regard to Obama. Like you said before, he's done a great job, and I just can't see them killing him. But at the same time, they can for a specific purpose, to cause civil unrest and to implement martial law. And I've been reading about martial law for the last 20 years. They even had a martial law plan in effect for Martin Luther King's assassination. I think it was called King Rex Alpha 8464, something like that. But I think with Obama, if you look at the presidents that have been in office since President Kennedy was assassinated, I think everybody else fell into line after that, and they do exactly what they're told. And I don't think that Obama is the brainchild behind everything, because I've heard him read and speak without a teleprompter, and he doesn't sound very coherent without it. But I think that touching on what Steve and I were talking about a long time ago, I think cloning has been perfected, basically, and I think that by the time we hear about things, it's already been perfected, and they make it seem like it's in the early stages, but it hasn't. And if you read a book by Kurt Vonnegut entitled Cat's Cradle, it was basically about Department of Defense cronies seeking out scientists to try to implement their ideas for weapons of war, basically. And I think that's what happened with cloning as well. So I think a lot of these leaders, if they have been killed and they are part of this elite order that I think goes back to the seed of the serpent, they can be killed, but it's their double. And I know it sounds like it's sci-fi and everything like that, but there's been cloning projects over in Europe for a very long time where they've successfully cloned sheep, and I think that they've done humans. And I think that what happens is the further you get away from the original and the cloning process, the less intelligent they are. So I think with Obama and this healthcare thing, it is making people incensed, and it wouldn't be unfathomable for somebody to try to get at him. And ironically, I don't know who brought it up about Obama being assassinated, but I watched a YouTube video of this pastor named Pastor Manning, and he's a pretty aggressively talks against President Obama. And he said today in his upload that just came up today that he believes that that he's going to get assassinated because there's too much information coming out now about Obama's past. And you have like an elementary school record that hit the internet a couple weeks ago, where it says that his name was Barry Soetoro and his religion is Islam. And then the students in his school went ahead, the former students from his elementary school, I think this was during the election, for his first term, they actually had a congratulations to Barry Soetoro. They didn't call him Barack Obama. And then there's other things about him as well, like, and it's, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a gentleman that came out and spoke against Obama and said he shouldn't be president because he smoked crack with him and performed homosexual acts with him. And so that hit the radar as well. And then come to find out that there was three men in his church that he had allegedly had a relationship with, and they all ended up murdered. But, you know, maybe that's just because they live in Chicago. I don't know. But one of the gentlemen from that church with Jeremiah Wright was the choir director, and the mother spoke out. And the mother said, I believe that my son was murdered in his apartment because he had a relationship and they didn't want any loose ends. So there's a lot of things that are coming out, and I could see that. And eventually there's going to be a smoking gun with Obama, and they're going to have to make a decision. I mean, but I really don't think any of these guys are actually killed anymore, because if you can make a clone, it's very easy to kill a clone. So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of up in the air, and I just think that they have contingency plan A, B, C, all the way to E, all the way to Z, and if they have to do it, they will pull the trigger. And then you had Oprah Winfrey getting on the mic this week and saying that people don't like him because of racism, which is maybe a small percentage true. There are people that are still racist, but on the whole, people don't like him because of his policies. He's continued to promote Bush policies since being in office. And then the health care fiasco. Like, I've got 2 people in my family with with cancer, and you're messing with people's health plans. How many people are fighting, life-threatening diseases, and he's, going in front of the mic, oh, look, I'm sorry. I said sorry. And that's not gonna cut it. So I don't know. It's just you kind of just got to keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on, but expectations should be into different mini scenarios, basically. That's what I think.
Steve?
I want to agree with Michael on... Hey, Doug, I just want to agree with Michael.
Go ahead, Steve.
On the whole cloning issue. Again, it's way beyond what anybody knows. The Nazis were experimenting on it in a big way. It was perfected in the Antarctic base of New Schwabenland. It really exists. A great thing for everybody to watch is on YouTube video. Just go and look for the Russian. It's about an hour-long Operation High Jump. It's in Russian, but it has English subtitles. And I think it's important. The verdict's out. Will he be assassinated? I just believe that based on what I hear through different sources and stuff, he's expecting to be assassinated. And again, I don't think people recognize the tumult, the peril, because they'll blame it on, probably some white guy or something, but it will be the very people that put him in. It'll be the kings of the earth whose love of money has given their power unto him will turn on him in open contempt. Because again, here's the deal. The tree is known by the fruit it bears. I heard a comic I was turning through. It's a woman named Chelsea somebody. I was turning through the channels, and she used the F word, and she did. I'm not going to, and said, blah blah blah. He's not a blanking Muslim. Well, the point being is that given all of the people that are in the highest order, see, here's a disconnect, Doug. You as an investigator, would you feel very comfortable as a Christian, as an outspoken Christian, if you knew that 250 people who believe they should cut your head off, who are in positions of rulership and authority, have access to all your files, all of your personal data information. That's the condition of this country. And yet people still don't get the fact that the Christians in America are going to face a slaughter of unprecedented proportion because the silent majority who kept quiet with the butchering of babies, that's what it was, the sacrifice of abortion. It has nothing to do with women's health. It has everything to do with the sacrifice, blood sacrifice. I remember, with specific Luciferian and a couple of them, for a matter of fact, telling me, you're right, Steve, but you're wasting your time. It's interesting that some of those guys listen to me, and they said, you're wasting your time. They're I better not say it. They're too bloody dumb to know that we're killing and sacrificing their futures before their eyes. I'll tell you what, you can learn a lot from those who hold you in contempt because at least they want to speak as boldly and as bluntly as they know how. Unfortunately, Doug, the church doesn't. So again, I would just encourage everyone. Tonight, one of the biggest stories that came out, NSA to oversee individual bank accounts and wealth. Well, it's like the Zager and Evans tune in the year 2525. If, man is still alive, we don't even have to worry about getting there. We've got a lot of things that we're going to have to deal with. And I think the greatest disconnect in the evangelical or professing world of Christendom, they do not know the lateness of the hour. And literally, when I read my Bible, and I know V will concur with this, boy, God says, if they don't repent, they're going to be thrust into the tribulation. That means you are instantaneously in one condition, you're almost simultaneously in another. And that's my last statement for the night, and I'll let these two guys close it out. But what Michael is saying is true. Human cloning is a defeat that has already been accomplished. Dolly the sheep and all the transgenic hyperbolic creatures and stuff, that's just basically keep the uneducated uneducated in the stupor. It really has progressed to the point, and I'm told that within a 9-month span, by accelerating the mitochondria, by absolutely cellular division, all the stuff they've done, they can grow up anybody to any age in a specific amount of time. Some people say, I don't believe it. Of course you don't believe it. Therefore, you have already played into their hands. The positioning of all these concepts into science fiction genre, or into the science fiction genre, is to keep you off your toes so you suspend belief so they can pull off their ritual magic and ritual slaughter and ritual sacrifice right in front of your face. And that's the tragedy of America. We see no evil, yet we participate in every form of it. We breathe no evil, or say, I'm not going to breathe, or I'm not going to smoke cigarettes or anything that's harmful for my body, yet we're poisoned on a level beyond, and I've never been a smoker, so I'm not a pitch for smoking, but yet the residue in chemtrail hits us night and day, goes onto our fruits and vegetables. It's a joke to think there's anything organic unless it's grown in a greenhouse, plain and simple. And, of course, speak no evil. Well, pretty soon you don't have to worry about speaking at all because your right to say anything will take away. And not only your right to say anything, let me make it even easier for everyone. Your right to think anything is going to be taken away. V, go ahead and clear it out and then turn it over. But that's my statement for tonight. God bless you all.
Steve, thanks. But let me just say one thing, V, before I turn it over to you. Steve, there's a report out right now, and I just want to kind of update you on this. FBI video shows Al-Qaeda in Kentucky handling heavy weapons, including, I believe, it's from a storage locker, high-powered weapons, grenade launchers and missile launchers. Okay, now the ABC's running with this story. According to my DHS source, and this is DHS source, I want to make it clear, the reports of Al-Qaeda inside the U.S. are being made known to justify internal drone strikes or drone strikes here in the United States. I just wanted to get that in there. Perhaps you might have a reaction or a response to that, but I know it's off topic.
Well, I've known for years that they've been brought in. Obviously, even on Drudge, you see that terrorists could have snuck in. Do you think, Doug, that it was by design or by stupidity? that the borders weren't closed. You can't, people talk about trying to go into Canada as an American citizen or come back into the States as a citizen, and you're exposed to every form of indiscretion and contempt you can imagine. Yet our borders left open. Let me tell you something. Being an old gun guy, and I've been in the firearms business for 31 years, I know a lot about different weapons and what's available, and I'm talking legally now. I also know and pick up things on what's been shipped into the gangs. We're talking heavy weaponry. Isn't it interesting? You see no SWAT team raids on that Noan, Kentucky. Remember when you and I were warning everybody about Buffalo, New York? It got me death threats. It got you an attempt to blow you up. You remember that? And then when Bush leaves office, 2 weeks after he leaves office, or maybe 2 weeks to 3 weeks, he's talking about they almost had to bomb Buffalo. Gee, where did they get that information? I'm being sarcastic. The bottom line is, of course they're in this country. They have weapon systems that, hey, even to make the Class 3 guys jealous, they have full-scale destructive devices. There are no SWAT raids, but boy, you better not grow milk or grow milk. You better not raise cows and milk cows for milk, and you better not raise vegetables, because we'll come in guns a-blaring. You better not be one of those Second Amendment guys, or we'll come in guns a-blaring, and you got everybody that's getting ready to murder everybody, and gee, they're just left alone, aren't they? Ought to scare the hell out of everybody listening to this broadcast.
V, and go ahead, V.
If anybody wondered where those weapons from Benghazi wound up, some of them just wound up in Kentucky, folks. That's exactly what it is. Especially if they got Stingers or any kind of anti-aircraft weapons. There you go. This is all a game. This is the game, and this is all the fruits of the labor of weaponized banking. And this is what weaponized banking does. It creates, conquers, and destroys a country. And we are being swallowed up into the Borg, into this massive conglomeration of kleptocratic oligarchs. And that's what we're winding up into. And I think unless you position yourself spiritually and have a faith in the Lord, and you position yourself financially with hard assets, and you got to figure out a way to protect yourself, your homestead, your family's wealth, your house, and you can't. Most importantly, you can't have attachments, especially in this day and age that we're living in. I don't think we are living in a time where you need to be attached to just about anything. The only thing you should be attached to is God and your family. That's it. Mike, you want to add something?
Yeah, I just think, going back to the money, I think that believers need to pray against this money, and when handling the money, there needs to be a concerted effort to realize that you need to divorce yourself from this money. And there's a quote in the book of Revelation. It says, I'm not sure if it's the book of Revelation, but it actually says we have to come out of her, my people. And I believe they're talking about the U.S. And these symbols that are on the money, they're very powerful. That's what I think. Isaiah 47 it's talking about America. Strongly believe that, and I just think that we need to keep our eye on this money. And this is what I would like to see. I would like to see a petition started where we could actually petition the government to explain this to us and be accountable for it, and then demand that it's taken off the money. And I think that we have power to do that, but I'd like to see some type of political effort that gets jumped off from this investigation.
Well said.
Back
Very
to you.
well said. Well, gentlemen, we've reached the end of the program. I can't believe how fast the 3 hours went, and I just want to thank you, Michael Arevna. Of course, folks, if you are, and you should be, interested in what Michael Arevna has to say, he's
90 seconds.
Founder and editor of RevelationNow.net, the Guerrilla Economist, the moniker of the Guerrilla Economist. I love it. Of course, your website is RogueMoney.net, and Steve, my friend, God bless you, SteveVoyle.com. Steve, thanks for handling the roundtable discussion tonight. V, thank you for participating, and Michael, thank you as well. Gentlemen, good night.
Until next time.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
We'll see you back tomorrow. 8
60
p.m.
seconds.
And Friday we have Brother Marcus will be joining us. Next Monday, Augusto Perez will be joining us. And we have some surprises coming up.
Yes.
We're not going to announce right away right now because we don't want to, not that they're not booked, but we just want to wait to surprise you guys. So you won't be upset, I promise you that. But until tomorrow, God bless, stay safe. 8 p.m. We'll see you then. Hang in there. Have a great night.